Nico Hulkenberg had an unusual weekend where he was called up last minute to replace an ailing Sergio Perez at Racing Point. As per the other regular drivers, Hulkenberg did an incredible job given the short amount of time he had to prepare himself. This also highlighted an issue that some of the teams in F1 face when it comes to reserve drivers, as multiple teams share the same drivers. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has now given his thoughts on Hulkenberg as a potential option. I'm your host Dillon Shelley, and first up on Formula World, could Hulkenberg join Mercedes as a reserve driver? Wolff finds it an interesting idea. Racing Point and Mercedes share reserve drivers in Stoffel Vandoorne and Esteban Gutierrez. The former was unavailable last week due to his commitments to Formula E, and the latter hasn't driven an F1 car in some time. Hulkenberg is someone who is both available and showed his ability to adapt quickly to the current F1 cars. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff sees this as a big positive. What he delivered on Friday was really solid, and also on Saturday within the framework of what was to be expected. Positive. I think he sold himself very well. If you're not in the car for 9 months, it's a really solid performance. And I'm sorry he didn't get to race. He then gave his thoughts on considering him as a reserve driver for the team. He's a good candidate. A German driver is always an interesting idea, even as a reserve driver. But I think we simply have to look at the situation globally. What do we want to achieve next year with our driver lineup? It could well be an option. Fast feed. Red Bull team boss Christian Horner feels that Alex Albon is very good at driving forward. His race pace was great and thinks they need a simple and boring weekend for him to show that. He further added that with an extra race he thinks and hopes he can make progress again. He also feels that DNF at Spielberg turned out to be an expensive one, especially when you consider that at the time of the problems Max was driving in between both Mercedes. Toto Wolff doesn't think that one championship is worth less than another. You can say that a shorter championship results in fewer mistakes and fewer races where you don't finish. He also feels they need to have the mindset of permanent skepticism. You have to stay with both feet on the ground and know that it's not over until it's over. F1's race director Michael Massey has revealed that the FIA and Pirelli are currently working together to see what was the reason for the puncture, and if necessary they will make adjustments. Pirelli F1 boss Mario Isola added to that by saying that if the punctures were caused by debris on the road, there is of course little they can do. If there is another reason, he added, then they will have to investigate it first. Until then, they can't say whether they should change the choice of tyres. Haas driver Kevin Magnussen has revealed that when he saw Alex Albon, it was far too late to give him room. He further added that it would have been much easier for Albon if he had have waited. He had a much faster car, it would have been easy to get past. Christian Horner revealed they discovered about 50 small cuts in the tyres of Verstappen after the race. Honda F1 boss Toyoharu Tanabe thinks that the balance of power in Formula 1 will not change just like that, of course. They want to improve but thinks it's difficult. Renault's Daniel Ricciardo feels that maybe with a couple more laps he could have had a podium and is hopeful they have another chance next weekend. McLaren's Lando Norris feels that in general his luck hasn't been with him in the first 3 or 4 races. And he also feels that Renault struggle in qualifying, then they come back in the races, and vice versa for McLaren. Should Mercedes sign Hulkenberg as a reserve driver? Head over to my community page to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.